Okay, so now on this Microsoft Flow example, we will see how we can call REST API from our Microsoft Flow. Let's say we have a Microsoft Flow on the, let's say we will take a button flow, and once you click on that, then it will internally call a flow, sorry, call a REST API. So on this particular example, we will see how we can use this send an HTTP request to SharePoint flow action, and by using that we will see how we can create a list using REST API, obviously from our Microsoft Flow only. And the other one also, we will see how we can create a list item. So on that, by using REST API from Microsoft Flow. So these two things we will see in this particular example. So without doing any delay, we will create a flow first. But before that, make sure that you have already gone through the REST API tutorial that we have previously discussed on that. I hope you have already seen that. So one, because that is the thing which will be requiring, will require that thing, because the REST endpoint and the REST, whatever the metadata things we need to pass, we have to pass those things. So we need to make sure that we have gone through those tutorials. So now I will open, this is the browser. So I'll go to flow.microsoft.com. So we will create a flow basically. So if you have not logged in, you can just, it will ask you to log in. You can just log in that. And then if you'll see here, you can just click on my flows. And here we will see, you can see a new button is there. So click on new, and then you can see here instant from blank. So basically if you'll do this, then we will be able to create a blank form. So click on that. And now if you'll see here, we can give a flow name here. So we will say, let us say we will create list from flow. So this is the flow name. And we will say how to trigger. So we will trigger from our Microsoft Flow itself. Now click on create. So once you click on create, you will see here the flow open, and you can see here now manually trigger a flow, which is because we have selected that option. Now click on new step, and here if you'll see there are a lot of actions are there. So just search for HTTP. So if you'll search for HTTP, it will show a lot of HTTP requests. You can see here actions. And one thing you will see here, that is known as send an HTTP request to SharePoint. This is what we are going to use here. Now click on this send an HTTP request. So you can see here that action got added, and we need to provide various things here. For example, here the site address. So where we exactly want to use this. So I will just select this, and I will provide my SharePoint site URL. You can see here. So this is the SharePoint Sky site. And then if you'll see here, we are going to create a list. So it will be a post request, as I discussed in REST API section also, because uh, it is a post request. We are not retrieving something. If you are retrieving something, then it will be get request. Here in this case, we are creating something, so it will be a post request. Now what will be the URI? If you remember, the URI will be the REST endpoint, that whatever we created. So for this particular, to create a list, we need to use underscore API slash then web, and then slash lists, lists. So this will be the URI. Now the headers. So the headers, we need to provide the content type. So if we'll see here, content hyphen type, and what will be the value? The value will be application slash JSON, and then just put a colon, sorry, a semicolon, and O data equal to verbose. This is the same thing that we usually use while working with REST API. Now next, if you'll see here, next what is there, this is quite important. This is the body tag. So here what we need to do is we need to pass the details, like let's say we want to create a list. So what will be the list title, what will be the list description, what will be the best template that we are going to use, as well as we need to provide the metadata for that. So for this we will just put a access like this, and within that we are going to write anything. So how exactly we will write is, first the first part of it, for example, let's say we will provide the list title or the description, something like that. Then we will pass it in the left side, then there will be a colon, and then the right side value. So this is actually we need to provide the values. So first thing what we'll do provide is we will put double underscore metadata. So you can see here, this is the metadata that we need to pass, and what will be the value here is, so the value, if you'll see, it will be let me just close, the metadata will be type, and if you'll see here, I'll put a colon over here, and then the value. So how it will be like this, for example, in this case particularly the metadata will be type, and it will be sp dot list. So because we are trying to deal with a list, so sp dot list, you can see here like this. Then put a comma over there, and in the next line we will provide other properties. So all other properties will be like this, on this other values will be like this. So let's say we will, it will be like this, you can see here. So this is the same way we will pass on the properties. So the first properties we are going to pass is the base template. So if you'll see here, this will be base template, you can see here. And what will be the value for this? The value is we will pass is 100. So if you'll see here, it is not a string, so we can put 100 like this. And then we need to pass the title of the list. So suppose we will say flow demo list, something like this, and the description. So if you'll see here, we'll put a description on that. So this is a list created from Microsoft Flow. So if you'll see here, now these are the values that whatever is required. First thing, let me just explain once again the metadata. If you'll open the video series of REST API, for creating a list we need to define the type like this. And similarly, let's say if you want to, I will show you while creating the list item what exactly we need to pass it. And then if you'll see here, we need to provide the best template, then the title, description, like this. If you'll see here, I miss a comma here, so we need to provide a comma, else it will give an error for this, that it is not a valid JSON format. Now if you'll see here, now our flow is done. So click on save, and go back here. We'll go back here, and we will this is a button workflow. You can open your mobile app, and then you can start from there. We can also start from here also. Click on run. So this is the run button which you can start, continue, and now we can start the flow. So you can see here run flow. So once you can see here, it is saying your flow run successfully started. Now it is started. So if you can see here, it is still running. We can just refresh it once, and then we'll be able to see what is the status it is saying. If it is successful, that means the list should have been created now. If you'll see here, now it is succeeded. You can just click on this flow date, and then you will be able to see the how the flow executed. You can see here both the things are green mark, so it is successfully created. So now we will go here, we will go to the site content page. Now we should be able to see a list known as our flow demo list, whatever the name that we gave. You can see here, this is the flow demo list. This is the list that we have created. This is a custom list. We can see now here, this is a custom list. You can see here only one title column is there. Now suppose what we will do is we will create one more flow. Now we will go to the second example where we will create the list item. Now if you'll see here, let's go to my flows. You can see here it is it run that time. So what we'll do now is we will create one more flow which will create one item in this particular list whatever we created. Now for this also what we will do is click on new, and then we'll start the same instant from a blank workflow. Click on that, and if you'll see here, now we will give a name for this. So I will say create new list item, and we will select where to trigger. We will trigger from our Microsoft flow and click on create. So again the same way you can see the similar screen is there, our flow. Now click on next step. We will follow the same process because we will again call the REST API, and we will create the list item over there. So I will search for HTTP, and we will be able to see send an HTTP request to SharePoint. Just click on that. This flow will be added now. So if we'll now, first thing is we need to select the site URL. So click over here and let us select our site. In this case it is SharePoint Sky, and then again it will be a post request because we are creating an item in the list. Now what will be the URI? So if we'll see, the URI will be we need to retrieve the list slash items, so then only we will be able to, our URI will be complete. So it will be like underscore API slash web slash you can see here mistake, web slash list slash then our get by title. So if you'll see here get by title, and we need to provide the URL, or sorry, the title of that particular list. So it will be on we can put in a semicolon within quote, single quote, and then here I will give the name of the list. So if you'll see here, this is flow demo list. Remember, I don't have space here. If you have provided space, then you have to write that percentage 20 whatever it is there. You cannot ignore that. So I will put over here, and then slash items. So you will see, this is how we usually define the REST endpoint to creating a list item. Next thing is the header. So we will use the same thing, content type. So it will be like this, content hyphen type, and the value. So the value in our case it is the same. We will use application slash JSON, and then we'll use the OData verbose. So there's the same thing that we have to write here. So in the value you will say application slash JSON, so like this, and then we will put a semicolon here, and then we will say OData equal to verbose. So this is how we can write it. You can see here. So this is how actually we can have our header defined. Now here is another important thing. We need to define the body properly, right? So in the body, if you'll see, we have one column which is just a title column, but we need to define the metadata also for this, right? The way we defined the metadata for previous example, where we defined for to creating list, now we are dealing with the list item. So same way I will just put brackets there, and within this bracket if you'll see, we will first define our metadata. So underscore and underscore, remember it will be double underscore, and we will say metadata, and then if you'll see, we need to define that metadata here. So we will put colon, you can see like this, and here we have to define like our type, and then we will say like this, and then then will be our value. So how we exactly will be this value for this particular list item? So it will be like sp dot data and dot then your list name, and then list item. For example, here my list name is flow a demo list, so I'll put flow demo list, and then I will say list item like this. So this is going to be the metadata for this one. Next, what we have is, let's say I'll put a title over here. So I will say title, and you can see here I will put a colon over there, and then we have to put the value. So you can see here I will put the value like this is a test item like this. So you can see here we put underscore underscore metadata, and then we define the type. So the type will be sp dot data, and then your list name, and then list item. So this is how actually we can have this. Now click on save, and go back here, and what we will do is we will run this. So click on run. You can see here it is asking to continue, so it will connect to this one, and whatever the permission is required, click on continue and run the flow. So once you run the flow, you can see here it is successfully started, done, and then we will just refresh once. We will be able to see whether the flow is running successfully or it has any error. So you can see here it is succeeded. I will go to, you can see here already the item is there. So if even if I'll go here, I will run once again, and you can see here run the flow, done. So the second one is running now. Also, if we'll refresh this list, you can see here the list item already created. So two times we run, and then two list items got created. So this is how actually we can use the HTTP action. So send an HTTP request to SharePoint action, and we can call REST API. So we need to define the REST endpoint or the URL properly, and then we need to define the body properly. So this is how we can use our HTTP send request to SharePoint send action to create a list and to create list item.